Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are on this fine planet. This is Paul Raw. Um, I'm coming to you with a new series. It's called Raw Hip Hop Perspective, and this is a series, of course, that will deal with hip hop. You know, um, again, it's called Raw Hip Hop Perspective, and I want to deal with a topic that's been floating around on the internet for some time, maybe for about 2 months. That is some time for internet time. You know, you have to, you know, things move fast out here. So yeah, for the last 2 months, I say this whole AI, artificial intelligence, has really been rearing its ugly head. Um, and I just want to share my perspective. This will be my first episode, of course. I'm going to delve into hip hop a little further in the future. I had something on deck that dealt with Talib Kweli, but we'll get to that later. He's really a waste of time. But today, I want to talk about artificial intelligence and its impact on hip hop, or music in general. You don't have to really just draw this down to hip hop, but I grew up in hip hop. I do not know a time before hip hop. That's just what it is. And no, I'm not overly obsessed with hip hop. I'm not one of the, you know, old heads who want to stay in the golden era. I will listen to almost anything. Today, my nephew sent me something by the late Drakeo the Ruler, or Draco the Ruler. And yeah, I listened to it and I said, hey, not my cup of tea, but I will give anything a listen. So now that we got that out of the way, I'm not an old head hating. I'm not into that shit. Actually, like I said, I don't know a time before hip hop, so I'm really the first generation to really grow up with the music. Everyone after me is just like me. My niece, my nephew, my son, they don't know a time before hip hop, just like I do. But I'm the first generation. My older siblings and cousins, they can remember a time before hip hop. But let's get to the topic at hand. When it comes to artificial intelligence, in relation to hip hop, there's nothing we can do about technology's, impact on anything in life. Technology is a part of life, it's a part of evolution. It's what separates us from the common beast. At one time, a sharpened rock was a form of technology. A bow and arrow was a form of technology. Fire was a form of technology. You know, at least not fire caused by lightning or, wildfire, man made fire. You get the idea. You guys are smart. So, since AI is here and is here to stay, and from what I've heard, uh, the voice manipulation software, if that's what you call it, or the voice emulation software, I don't know the exact terminology. Yes, it does sound like the artist to a degree. The first time I saw or heard one of the songs was a Kendrick Lamar song. It was actually not even AI exactly, but it was a voice emulation software. And it kind of sounded like Kendrick Lamar. I think everybody knows the video. I'm not going to play it here. And that's why I didn't put up the fair use sign, because this is all going to be off the top of the head. And I'm going into this blind. This is really a shot in the dark, something I'm sending out to the universe. But the video, I think everyone has seen this video. It's a white guy rapping in a Kendrick Lamar voice. That was the first time I saw AI technology used to make a song. But honestly, let's backtrack a little bit. We could consider the holograms a form of AI technology, or this technology being used in hip hop. The first one was, of course, the Tupac hologram, and then the second one was the ODB telegram hologram, and the third one was a ODB. No, I just said ODB, but a Biggie hologram that they used as some type of exhibit. Um, that's all technology, you know. That's all meant to either enhance the viewer's experience, or to maybe replace the artist. Who knows? That's what they're hinting to with this new wave of videos when it comes to AI and hip hop. I heard uh um I heard the song "Niggas in Paris" with Tupac as Kanye and Biggie as Jay-Z. And it sounded pretty believable. I can't lie. Wasn't right on the mark, but for it to be pretty much like a beta version of the technology, it sounds believable. So that means whatever they're showing us is something that's just the beginning. They have more in store for us, you know. And then even let's backtrack a little more. So after the hologram, then we have this guy pop up. I don't know his name. I forgot his name. Actually, let me look it up real quick. Um, what's this guy's name? Oh yeah, his name is FN. F is in Frank, and is in Nancy Mecca or Mika, Meka. And actually, he was signed. I mean, not signed, but he was created by Capitol Records. He was pretty much dismissed right away, but you know, that was the first iteration. I mean, the second iteration. The first one, in my opinion, was the holograms. That was the first iteration. And then he came. He was the second iteration, and now we're dealing with the software that can manipulate voices and use Chat GBT. I mean GPT. I think that's what it's called. Um, which they use to create lyrics. So that's that's as much as I know. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, please. Oh yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share if you like. Who cares? Um, so I think we could have seen this coming. When auto tune popped up, that was an automatic sign that technology would start to manipulate the actual output of music. We all know the culprits. What's that guy's name? T Pain, then Lil Wayne, then Drake. These are all the chief culprits who really infuse auto tune into hip hop. Oh yeah, Kanye, of course. Can't forget Yeezy or Ye or whatever he calls himself today. So we were already on track to really head this way. And then not only do we have auto tune, we also had the overuse or abuse of the 808s. Like, God damn. And it's not like I hate the 808s, okay? Like I said, I'm not one of those angry old niggas. Really not. We grew up on 808s. In fact, Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, they all use 808s. Public Enemy use 808s. They all use 808 bass, kicks, snares. The only thing I could say that we didn't use a lot of were like the cowbells and the clave or clave, CLAVE, however you pronounce it. You didn't hear that too much. Um, and even when we went to the golden era, if you even listen to the interviews from Pete Rock or interviews from DJ Premier, they all said they would use 808s to beef up the bass. So it's always been here. It's just that there was an abuse of it. I mean, Dr. Dre used 808s, but think about when they used the 808 kicks a long time ago, it was complementary. They would use live bass or sample bass, you know. But now it's come to a point where everyone just uses 808s, That's just what you hear. You just have to deal with it. Um, Shoot, De La Soul used to use 808s. So it's always been around. It's just that they rely too heavily on it, you know. And the 808 has a very, you know, entrancing sound. It's like a bland bass, it's synthetic. And usually when something's synthetic, more people consume it. That's just how it is. So let's move on. I already stated, you know, my brief knowledge of, it's of AI's rise and the chief culprits of ushering in what we've become used to, which is computerized singing, computerized drums, computerized melodies, which is fine too. I don't have anything wrong with VST. I don't see anything wrong with VSTs, virtual software technology. No, that's not what it's called. I don't know, but VSTs, you get it, man. Shit, give a fuck. Actually, I hate speaking about stuff I don't know. VST, what does that stand for? Virtual studio technology. That's what it's called. So, and there's nothing wrong with that too, because we've used synthesizers for years, for years. So let's get into solutions because I can't speak about this crap at work. No girl wants to have this conversation. I don't even speak to my like people I know about this shit because who gives a fuck? But the only solution I can see to really save whatever we can save of hip hop is for artists to go back to singing. We actually need real singers again. That's what may be the gift to this curse. It will reintroduce singing, harmonizing, someone who can actually sing. Because even when they used auto tune, because auto tune really appeared in the early 2000s, maybe like 2001, 2002. Um, and it was really used to beef up vocals, and it was also used for live performances. Singers can lose a lot of depth in their voice um, or texture in their voice due to long tours. Whitney Houston used it. It was a tool they used for people who could sing. And then we had people like T-Pain who came along and made auto tune the tool to sing instead of a tool to help people sing. So we will have to go back to real singers. And for rappers, we'll have to go back to rappers actually writing their fucking lyrics. Get a pen and a piece of paper. Get off your fucking phone. There's a study that was out that determined or concluded that people who write improve their mental sharpness, for one. For two, there's something about transferring thoughts from paper, from thoughts from pen to paper that gives a level of permanency. It helps you intellectually, and it also helps you memorize what you wrote. And it also gives you depth of thought because, you could write a rhyme and erase something. If you have a pencil, you can erase it and rewrite it. If you have a pen, you have a bunch of scratched out marks and you can rewrite it. You could always work out the rhyme. And when we did do that in hip hop, you could hear the difference between pre Jay-Z rappers and post Jay-Z rappers. Because Jay-Z, what he does is a beautiful thing. But there are times where you could tell Jay is just winging it because he'll always end a rhyme with like nigga or bitch or just simple words, or just he'll repeat a word. And that's because he's doing it all in his head. Whereas if he wrote it down, he may want to change up the rhyme scheme because he's playing with the papers like an art. It's an art form. So AI may make brothers go back to the pen and piece of paper. Get off your phone. In the first place, I have my little suspicions about the phone. Anybody could tap into them. So your thoughts are not private. Your thoughts are private when you write it on a piece of paper. They're there for you to really delve into it and keep it to yourself until it's time for the world to hear. If they can, hack into people's phone for nudes and, text messages, they could tap into your notes on your Apple iPhone. But that's just a suspicion. I have no proof. But getting back to my point, AI may make us have to go back to writing rhymes. We'll have to go back to writing rhymes, and we'll also have to go back to using live instruments. We've always used live instruments in hip hop, even from the beginning. A lot of Run DMC shit and Houdini. Friends, how many of us have them friends? You know what I'm talking about. That had live instrumentation on there. The producer Larry Smith, who doesn't get enough credit, and that's what I plan to do as well. This is a sidebar in this series, Raw Hip Hop Perspective. I'll start doing profiles on unknown producers and artists, especially producers. When it comes to Larry Smith, he was the super producer before there was a super producer. The only thing that messed up Larry Smith was the fact that he didn't want to sample, and that was the way of hip hop at the time of his rise. Like as he was rising, sampling became more readily available. But had he incorporated sampling, who knows what he would have done. But that's neither here nor there. But to get back to the point, there was a lot of live instrumentation in a lot of early hip hop, and that even the first hit, Sugar Hill Gang, was a live band. It was a sample nonetheless, but a live band replayed it. And that's something that we may need to get back into because a computer cannot mimic imperfections. I know this because I've made beats and I've done I've done something accidentally and it sounded good, so I kept it. And a computer can't do that. A computer can't, you know, a computer can create a beat that's on a one, but a computer can't create a beat that's on a one and then the 1 1/4 and then a 1 1/2 or 1 and 1.5, however it goes when you break down sheet music or the measurements. Those imperfections is what made hip hop because we went into sampling and a lot of the stuff we sample was played live. So all of those mistakes added in to the computer, like the technology that was available, gave it an extra feeling. Like the mistake is there, but the on time, the quantization made it sharper and more hard hitting, if that makes sense. But that's what I think we need to do. That's a solution. We need to get back to writing lyrics. We need to get back to hiring real singers, singers, singers. A girl like a sang, a girl like a this, that fat lady with the fat elbows. You love her macaroni and cheese after church. Her fried chicken was to kill for or to die for, however that expression goes. So we need to get back to start from the top. We need to go back to writing lyrics, go back to getting real singers, and we also need to get back into live instrumentation. We have to make the computer work 3 times harder than he ever could, because I heard a song on, I think it's Math Hoffa's show. It wasn't, I think he read the lyrics. But bottom line is that the chat GPT used the word slacker. We don't use that word in everyday speech in hip hop. Nobody, So the computer's going to pick whatever's available to rhyme words. The computer will just rhyme words without any type of understanding of culture and nuance. So we need to get back to those 3 things and everything should be okay. Hip hop will live. It will always live. It may change, shift, and mold. And actually, AI may lead us to a new era. I would call it the diamond era, because it will be a time where we crystallize our thoughts and our execution of our art. But yeah, that's what we need to do, because there's no stopping this thing called artificial intelligence. I can remember I went to go see a business guy, and he mentioned, because we were talking about financial modeling. He was talking about AI, and then we went into a whole discussion, and he mentioned this type of stuff, like it'll be able to, you'll be able to use it in medicine, music, what else? Construction. Like right now, there's most likely an AI, whatever program, software that can actually, cut out an architect. Literally, like a program could design a whole building given all of the necessary information, such as land, soil, depth of the building, all the stuff that I don't know much about, but I would assume you need to get a understanding of the landscape to start building a building. You could plug all of that in, and a computer could spit out a design for a building. So this stuff is really going to change life as we know it. Soon lawyers may not be necessary. What I can see coming is you'll just have a bunch of skilled paralegals punching in information, and then you'll have someone there to you'll have a program create the briefs, and and because a lot of the legal field is just paperwork. That's all that shit is paperwork. The old saying is drown them in paperwork. Once you drown a person in paperwork, they'll tap out if they don't have the same resources. That's why you can't sue a Coca-Cola or a McDonald's too easily. Their legal staff will just drown you in paperwork. But that's neither here nor there. That's a sidebar. But let's go over this before I end this, because this will be my shortest video, because this is a quick one-off. This is something that was on my mind, and I want to get it out there. AI is here to stay. Technology will always be here to stay, and we should embrace it. Yeah, you can hate it all you want, but you can't fight the tide. Shit, you can't fight the rain, So get your ass an umbrella or a surfboard, motherfucker. Ride that wave or keep that drip off your drip. You get what I'm saying? So let's go over the solutions before I check out of here. One, get some real singers. Okay. Whew. And 2, start writing your fucking rhymes. I could tell you niggas don't write your shit. It sounds like it. Sometimes, yeah, I'm going to go into a little tangent. I love Jay-Z, but I don't like, or I don't totally like what he created in terms of bragging about not writing rhymes. Wow, whoop-de-doo. You can memorize 8 bars. And a lot of times, nigga, even Just Blaze said this shit a few times. This motherfucker will lay down 8 bars, then come back, lay down 8 bars. He'll bring a track back up and just start from where he left off. So it's not like he's writing the whole rhyme and he's saying it all at once. He may not have the wingspan for that, especially at his age, okay? And that's why his rhymes sound the way they do now. On that song God Did, it's not the same Hove from back in the days. It's on off-beat type of rhymes because it's hard to do that shit. To memorize a really good in-the-pocket rhyme, that's difficult. That's difficult. And to do it in like one take or just do it all the way through, that's difficult. And that's what made rappers like the DOC such an icon, a lyrical beast. If you do not know the DOC, please go look him up. And if you do, you already know what I'm talking about. He did his first single from top to bottom, no stops. And we know that's true because Pro Tools didn't exist at that time. And you can hear it in the song that there's no punch-ins. I could hear punch-ins. Okay. But yeah, I know this nigga right here. I throw myself off course. So let's start from the top again and finish this shit. We need to get back. Solution number 1, we need to get back to getting real singers. Solution 2, we need to go back to the pen and the pad. And if you really want to get fancy, use Rhyme Zone or thesaurus.com to really help you out, okay? And the third solution is go back to live instrumentation. You can sample. Sampling is not going anywhere. You can use synthesizers, VSTs. That's not going anywhere. But incorporate, a little guitar lick here and there. Buy yourself a horn. Belt out a little note or two on your horn. We're going to have to go back to that because computers cannot, or at least at this point, computers cannot mimic human imperfection. That's what made us great over all of the other creatures on planet Earth. Sometimes I wonder, what do like primates think of us if evolution is true? Like, we came from, a primate, Homo erectus and all that other shit. I wonder, what do they think of us? Because I'm sure they have oral history, however they communicate. They must say, hey, those little monkey motherfuckers fucking up everything. I remember when those little human motherfuckers, I used to beat their ass. But that's neither here nor there, man. You get the idea. So we need to go back to live instrumentation. We need to just go back to the basics. That's just the bottom line of it all. We should have gone back there. That's one thing I used to like about Dr. Dre. And I think that's what he really solidified in hip hop because, like I said, Larry Smith incorporated live instrumentation. But as time progressed, it started to disappear. And also a Tribe Called Quest incorporated live instrumentation. Who else? Can't think of anybody else right now, but several people. Large Professor used to incorporate live instrumentation. So it's always been here, but Dr. Dre did solidify it to make it like he was able to fuse sampling and live instrumentation and make it sound real good and beefy and melodic, because I fought listening to The Chronic when I was a kid, but somebody forced me to listen to it. And I couldn't lie. As ignorant as that shit was, it was fucking a work of art. It was perfect. But that's all I have to say for this first episode of Raw Hip Hop Perspective. We need to solve this problem because it's not going anywhere. Take care.